Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to the podcast that some people love, some people hate, and some people hate to love it. Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
I have no idea what that intro was about.
Nope.
Feel a little spicy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
On this episode, we're going to talk about the alien robot attack at Cisco Grove. Sounds interesting,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And we have some listener feedback for the second half. And why don't we kick things off with an article I plucked from our Facebook group, posted again by Mike. Mike, I'm not sending you another sticker.
But thank you for posting things.
But thank you very much. Obviously, this one is about Bigfoot, so it jumped right out at me.
Right.
This is on foxnews.com, fox4news.com.
Fox 4.
Fox 4. 2 million bounty placed on Bigfoot in Oklahoma town. Must be captured alive and unharmed.
How would they check that?
What do you mean?
If the Bigfoot was unharmed?
Well, being alive is a good
Right.
start.
Yeah.
Not
But
bleeding.
okay. Well, how are you going to get close enough to a captured Bigfoot to go? Excuse me. Can you lift your arm? I think there could be a scrape underneath there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to rip your head off.
At least their heart's in the right place. At least I assume.
Yeah,
with
maybe.
that criteria.
Maybe.
But they're not
Right.
looking to mount this Bigfoot on the wall or something.
I mean, I could read some more.
Oh, sorry. There was more to that. Sorry.
Coming out of Oklahoma City, a $2.1 million bounty has been offered in Oklahoma for anyone able to safely capture the mythical ape-like creature known as Bigfoot. In January, Representative Justin Humphrey introduced House Bill 1648, which, if passed, would require the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission to establish rules for a hunting season for the mythical creature.
What?
The mythical creature purported to inhabit the forest of North America. Whatever.
Just to capture him and tie him up?
The legislation was intended to promote tourism in Humphrey's heavily wooded district in southeast Oklahoma. The area reportedly boasts the 9th most Bigfoot sightings in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So would you go hunting for Bigfoot?
No. That's a big no.
Well, but you're just to capture him.
Right. And originally the bounty was set at $25,000. So now it's bumped up to $2 million.
Whoa.
Maybe people...
So could you go out Bigfoot hunting in Oklahoma City, okay, with a barrel of, like one of those small little barrels of whiskey, come across Bigfoot, get him trashed, and then
Oh, my God.
take pictures of you hanging out with Bigfoot and then get your payout. That way everybody has a good time. Nobody's harmed except for his liver, of course.
Right.
You know, and the next day because he'll be all hungover or whatever. But at least you capture him and get the $2.1 million.
But we would have to know that if Bigfoot is an alien, does that physiology react
Good
to
point.
ethyl alcohol to actually get drunk or not?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe
that
we
might
should
be
go
like his
find out.
coffee, and that just perks him up, and he's
raring to go.
yeah.
Well, Humphrey said, we're having fun with it. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. But at the same time, I know a lot of people thought I was crazy. But I think if people chill out, they could see that this could be a serious deal bringing a lot of money and a lot of tourism their way. So he thinks people are like, hey, I'll go hunt for the Bigfoot, and it'll just bring in tourism.
Right.
So super fun idea.
Yeah.
I think it could actually be a very bad idea for a hunter if he would come across a Bigfoot.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't see Bigfoot being taken
No.
easily.
No.
Right.
Alive, unharmed.
Right.
I think the hunter would be lucky to make it back unharmed.
Right.
But that would also protect the Bigfoot.
And armed, I was going to say. He'd be lucky to make it back unarmed. Missing an arm. What happened? Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, sorry, it's still out there. But it would also protect the Bigfoot from getting shot and killed
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they want it alive and unharmed. Yep. Yeah. So it's a clever way to promote tourism and not do any harm towards this creature that could be out
But
there.
ultimately, if somebody was able to capture a Bigfoot, bring him in, the first thing they do is they're going to set him up for photos like you were talking. We have a King Kong scenario where he's strapped in chains. People are watching a show with him. He breaks loose and just wreaks havoc. So either way, this isn't really a great idea.
Yeah, I have to say I would love to go hunting Bigfoot in the sense of I want to find Bigfoot and take pictures, but I wouldn't want to capture it. Like
Right.
that's a little too up close and personal for me.
But it would be good to go with a tour guide who brought like his knocking equipment or different equipment out in the woods to be able to go out.
His
and-
knocking equipment.
Did you just knock on the
A piece of wood?
Well, whatever.
But I mean, once you're in the woods, you'd probably find
Right.
knocking equipment.
I found new knocking equipment. There it is on the ground.
If only there was some wood.
There's
Right.
some wood around here. But I mean, you could go out with somebody who you could talk to, and it might actually be a good time out in the woods.
I mean, I'm surprised people aren't trying to have like a startup where they will take you out. They're guides. They'll take you out.
Right.
They know the woods. They'll take you out on this hunting adventure.
And then they got to have some guy out in the woods running around doing the call back when you do your Bigfoot call that he would call back, and he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that'd be a great tourism. That'd be a good thing."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you can read the whole article at fox4news.com. Fox4news.com.
Fox 4.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. All right. Now that we're warmed up, it is time to talk about the aliens in Costgrove. Costco?
No,
Grove?
Cisco.
Cisco? Where's Oh, yeah.
Not at
Hey, did you see
Costco.
the aliens down at Costco?
Oh my god!
Welcome to Costco.
Actually,
I
yes,
love you.
I have. I was at Costco a little while ago when I did.
It's going to be one of those episodes.
Yep.
All right. Lish,
All right.
please save me from any more embarrassment and take it away.
All right. So on September 4th, 1964, Donald Shrum went on a bow hunting trip. What are you laughing at?
I misheard you.
Shrum. Sorry.
Shrum.
Shrum.
Okay.
Shrum.
It sounded very much
Shrum.
like you said something else.
I'm sorry. If that's what
No,
you
it
heard.
just changes the entire story.
I would love
Okay.
it. That would be awesome.
All right. So Donald Shrum went on a bow hunting trip in California with friends that turned into an adventure that he will never forget. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. So, he and a bunch of friends, they went to Cisco Grove in Placer County, California, to go hunting deer and whatever with their bow. This area had been hunted by this group many times before, so they kind of were familiar with everything that was there. So at some point during the day, Donald was tracking a deer, and he got separated from his group. Once it became night, he decided at that point he should just hunker down and wait for light so he didn't wander more into the wilderness.
Right.
So he got up in a tree and he decided to wait for dawn.
So he's going to sleep in the tree?
Yeah, that's what he was going to do.
Okay. Why?
Because predators
yeah.
walk on the ground
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a camper. I mean, people go camping. Just
This was in the 40s.
sleep.
So there's probably a lot of mountain lion in there. There's probably
Yeah.
all bears.
Right.
Lots of
I mean, the
stuff.
tree's not stopping a mountain lion. You just curl up next to you.
Well, you would know. It would come
True.
after you because your whole world
Right.
would shake.
Okay, I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Okay. As he was trying to fall asleep, his attention was caught by a strange white light in the sky that seemed to be zipping and zagging around. It then seemed to descend below the tree line. He watched as the light seemed to move closer to his position. So he actually, at that point, he thought it was a helicopter. It wasn't making any noise at that point, but he was like, I think maybe my friends are doing like a search party looking for me. So At that point, he got down from the tree so he could get a closer and better look at it. He lit a flare at that point to let them know where he was. But he soon discovered this was no helicopter or search party. The light rapidly moved towards him and came within 50 feet. Once closer, he could see that it was a cigar-shaped glowing object that was at least 14 stories tall. So that's pretty big.
Well,
huge.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't 14 stories tall. It was 14 stories long, right?
I heard what I found was tall.
So then it was a cigar flying around,
Yes.
pointy up, down. Like,
Yes.
Gotcha.
Like that.
I thought it was like a hot dog flying through the sky, kind of like a hot dog would. Not
Right.
like an up and down thing. Yeah.
Of course.
It was horizontal.
Yeah.
It was vertical instead. Okay.
From this larger object, a smaller one detached and came to rest not too far away from him. So at this point, Donald, he was freaking out, so he hurriedly got back up the tree and he hid in the shadows for some time. And after a while, he could hear what sounded like people walking through the brush below him. He peeked down and got the surprise of his life.
Well, what did he see?
He saw 3 entities, 2 humanoids that were about 5 feet tall, wearing silver coveralls and goggles. And the third was a robot creature with glowing orange eyes.
Sounds like an 80s band. Like he looked down and saw Devo.
Right? Yeah.
That's exactly right.
All 3 walked over to the tree, and the robot began to shake the tree violently. He hung on for dear life while they continued to try and shake him out. At some point during this ordeal, the robot emitted some kind of white vapor from its mouth, which smelled strange.
As white vapor
As
from
most
your
white
mouth.
vapor does.
And it made him pass out. When he woke up, he was still in the tree, feeling nauseous and tired, but the 3 beings were also still at the bottom of the tree. He decided to throw matches or whatever he had up there with him to scare them off, before he remembered that he had a bow.
I was going to say, take this. He hits it with
Yeah.
a lit match or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it was
Flick him
lit.
out.
Yeah.
Like that.
Whatever he could find, he was throwing. So he fired on the robot 3 times, even causing sparks to fly, but didn't actually do any damage. Soon, a second robot, just like the first, showed up. Both robots released that gas, and once again, when he woke up, he was feeling sick. They were still there, but now the robots were actually trying to climb the tree. Donald, he continued to pelt them with whatever objects he had with him, making them descend down the tree, circle it, and then start shaking it again. This went on all night. At dawn, nearly a dozen more of these robot creatures attacked the tree. They also emitted another plume of noxious gas.
As you do.
Yeah. And he passed out again.
It was a group fart.
Yes, it was a group fart. When he woke up, he was actually hanging from a branch by his belt. And all of the creatures were gone. The robots, entities, all of them. So at this point, he gets down from the tree and is able to make his way back to the camp. Once he got back to camp, he found out that one of his buddies had actually seen strange lights the night before, too. But unfortunately, he was the only one to see robots. Later, he did speak to some like Air Force personnel or whatever, but they refused to believe him and pretty much thought it was a prank.
Oh.
So,
I mean, giant cigar-shaped ship, but yet your robots don't have any way to get up a little old tree.
Right.
It
Yeah.
sounds a little...
yeah.
And I'm wondering, he didn't, I mean, it sounds like he didn't use his greatest weapon against robots. Urine.
Oh.
Because if he would have just peed on them, they would have killed the robots.
Maybe.
I mean, it's making assumptions that they're electrical
That
based.
was the one thing is when you hit the one robot with the arrow,
It
like a big
sparked.
shower of sparks. Well, that me. Now, I took it as it actually caused damage to the robot. You saw that it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it actually pierced the robot and it's causing a huge electrical thing,
Right.
that means there's like, you typically wouldn't design something that's capable of being a robot with that much electricity at all times. Like, that's just
Right.
a recipe for disaster, which in that case,
He could have peed on him.
could have peed on
And
him.
they don't have like a bag of rice or something to put him on the robot's head to get all
God.
the liquid out of him or anything like that. Or,
My God.
You know what I mean? Like you do your iPhone when it gets wet. You know, but I'm just saying. I mean, that would have been maybe they threw in stuff, and it confirmed that the sparks confirmed that the robot's body was made of metal.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
But
So
then why, when he was just throwing things and the robots were trying to come up the tree, did it actually like deter them, have them go down? Because if you're a robot made of metal, you don't care that you're being pelted with.
right.
Right. I do have something that I thought maybe I'd bring up a little bit later, but there's theories about what they were doing.
Okay.
So
Well, I want before we jump into the theories, I want to kind of dial it back a little bit because the idea of killer robot farts is I think that's a fantastic idea. I think a whole army of robots who look really scary, but really their only offensive weapon that they do is to fart at you,
oh boy.
and it knocks you out. I think that's a fantastic thing. And it came out of their mouth and not their hiney.
Yeah, it came out of their mouth.
So maybe they're built backwards.
Now, interestingly enough, there was
Look at you.
Upside down.
Look at you.
Like you take a pencil and you just flip it over.
there's a similarity of this. You not very close, but enough with Spring-Heeled Jack.
Okay.
Which, if you haven't heard of that, that's an entity that was found in 1830s London. And he showed up at the doorstep of Jane Alsop. And when she opened the door, she saw a tall figure wearing a cape with claws for hands and eyes the color of balls of fire. Okay, so you got the glowing red eyes
Right.
at that point.
Right.
And then he proceeded to vomit blue and white flames, which rendered her blind.
Oh.
Now, that's about where the similarities end.
Okay, I was wondering how you're tying that together.
Yeah, so it's one of the things, in researching this is that, okay, is there this type of alien that is showing up throughout history, and that we've had more than one encounter of them, but they're actually changing tactics or evolving or whatever type of thing. So now the thing with Spring-Heeled Jack is he was really good at jumping. At one point, he just bounded over a 9-foot fence. So climbing up a tree would not have been any problem for him.
Right.
Now, wasn't there? There was also a story that a French author did. Let me see. I was trying to find it while you were talking. But there was at the very base of the article I read. There was a little footnote that there was a French author from about, I forget, it was like the 1860s or something like that. Before that had said that there was a metal covered like demon that came, and when it belched smoke, people died.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was trying to find it because I didn't actually write it down because I'm never good at taking notes. But it
Maybe
was.
if you used bigger paper.
Well, this is bigger than I normally do. What are you talking about? But I thought, because at the very bottom, I thought that was like the only piece of corroborating evidence was from this French author that had nothing to do with this, but said that there was a metal creature that belched out gas that killed people. So I thought that was extremely interesting, and the idea, I just think it's really cool to have that, And I was wondering when the robots were climbing the trees, do they have hands, or do they have like robot pincers?
I don't think I found anything about like that.
You know
like
what I mean?
specifically, besides the glowing eyes. I don't think I really saw anything. They had a slit for a mouth, I think,
Yeah.
that would open, obviously, because
That's when
it would
those-
emit gas.
It's when the pooty gas
But-
came out, right?
Yeah, but the Flatwoods Monster kind of was like a metal robot looking thing that emitted some kind of stinky mist.
Yep.
Or, yeah. Connected? I don't know.
I don't know. When
knows?
was the Flatwoods? Was that in the 60s
let me look.
too? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
1952.
52. Okay, so
Okay, so I found my author. It was in 1836. A French librarian wrote a book called Antoine Leroux de Lincy. And in this book, it says, if a mortal being dares come near them, they will open their mouth and, struck by the breath which escapes from it, the imprudent fellow dies poisoned.
Wow.
So
that was right around the time of Spring Heel Jack, too.
Right. So, I mean, there's other little things out there of similar stories.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of happy I found that so quickly.
Interesting.
Now, I wanted to ask, you said that the meeting with the Air Force was kind of nonchalant and they didn't believe him. I found an alternative story to
Did
that.
you?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
So apparently when they got back, Shrum's mother-in-law heard about this and contacted an astronomer friend who immediately contacted the Air Force. There's an Air Force base nearby.
Yeah, there's a mess of them.
Okay.
Sorry.
So McKellen Air Force Base. And they decided they wanted to meet with Donald, but they didn't set it up on base. They took him out to an abandoned house that was like nobody around, and then they proceeded to listen to his account and then confiscate everything he had, including the arrows, which were said to have shavings of the robot on them.
What?
So
Really?
yes.
So then it was damaged, and it did leave a little bit.
Hmm.
Huh. That's got to be like T1000 liquid metal kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I don't know if you came across this or not, but so Donald actually worked for a defense contractor.
Yep.
And did not actually use his name in any of these things for the longest time.
He didn't actually come out with this for a while because he was embarrassed and he felt like he was going to get made fun of. And also, he thought maybe it would affect his career as a missile defense contractor.
Right.
So,
Wow.
but his friends, I think they convinced him, go ahead, go public with it because this is interesting.
Right.
So,
Well, I think it was under a false name until like 2017 was when they
really?
finally had the real
how
name.
did I not get all this stuff?
Okay.
I'm glad you did.
Dave's the research supreme, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he is.
It's not the real Dave. There's no way.
Is this a different Dave?
Yeah. So I also found something when he came out of the forest, he was still feeling kind of ill. And when he went to the hospital or whatever, they said that radiation was the cause of his illness.
He
or
was
whatever.
irradiated.
Yeah. So I found that interesting too, because I was like, where would he get this other than as his job? Is he around that kind of stuff too? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, because he would be exposed to that in his normal works, unless he took like real precautions to do it, and the robots just ate like some Brussels sprouts or something, because Brussels sprouts will do it. I mean, they make you fart some nasty stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy.
Well,
I was like, you're planning a picnic. You got hot dogs, rice, Brussels sprouts.
I'm telling you,
I'm counting to see how many food.
I haven't got the ice
did you
cream
get?
yet or beer.
Oh, no, you didn't. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But just real quick, I think so. He worked at a missile defense contract, but he was actually building the missiles, not necessarily the warheads.
Right.
So he probably missiles don't typically run on
Right.
No,
nuclear
you're right.
material.
Yeah.
So that more than likely he shouldn't have been.
He shouldn't have
gotten
No.
any
I
radiation
wouldn't say
from
that
it.
he's completely safe from it, but
Right.
in theory, he shouldn't even be around that stuff.
Right.
But who knows? Who knows? When you've got radioactive ass gas, I mean, it gets everywhere. So I'm just saying. But to what you guys were saying, when I was looking at the area with regards to like the different military institutions around that area, so there are at least 20 plus military institutions just in the remote area right around, because this is like west of Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
So Lake Tahoe is about 6,000 feet elevation, kind of in that ballpark. And it's of course it's heavily wooded. The lake itself is a clean, it's a freshwater lake. So I'm like, okay, well, there's a few military institutions around here, and I get it that it's mountainous, it's heavily wooded, it's prime location. Then I got looking at the area, and there was actually more mining shafts in the area than there was military institutions.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. So
Where are you going with this?
Yeah. Well, no, it's so that took me to
Buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Here it is. Yeah. So it took me to a story back in 1848. This guy John Sutter, okay, he had an encounter. It was very similar to Donald Shrum.
Okay.
It was very similar to that encounter, but in the Donald Sutter encounter, they had said, well, one of the reasons why there's such a high amount of UFO incidents in this area, and let me just kind of put little parentheses on this, in the U.S. between 2001 and 2015, there have been 120,000 reported sightings of UFOs.
Wow.
In L.A. County, there's been 24,000 in that 2001, that 15-year span. In around the Lake Tahoe area, it runs about 3,200 sightings. Jeez. So there's a ton. And they said the reason why there's so many sightings is in this area, and why most of them are either in and around the lake or through the mountains and kind of low, is that there was 4 things that are unique to Lake Tahoe. And there's an assumption that accounts for 2 of these. Okay. One, that it's super remote, high elevation, and there's a lot of valleys that are there. There's just nothing in these valleys. It's just woods. So that was one. Number 2 was they believed at that time that UFO fuel has 2 major components. There's 2 major components that they get pulled apart and used for fuel in the engines and whatnot. One of them was gold, and the other was fresh water. And they said, and that was 2 of the 3 right there. There was number 2. They believed one of the main components was fuel, and there's a ton of mines in that area. If you look, they're just peppered all over the place. Pure fresh water that's constantly renewable. And number 4, oddly enough, now I didn't believe this at first, but then I zoomed out the map. Lake Tahoe, okay, other than being a beautiful lake with some wonderful skiing and pleasant time, is equidistant to all the major powers, all like the major political powers in the world. So it was like to India, to China, to all these larger, other than the U.S., all of these other major political powers in the world. Lake Tahoe is equidistant from all of them, which seemed really odd. And that was my really? That's really weird. And so you can be secretive. The theory was in 1848 that they could be secretive in the woods and the hills and the mountains in Lake Tahoe, get the fuel that they need, get out of there. And if they needed to go talk to somebody to commute and say, hey, what are you doing? We're going to steal your cows, whatever, and probe you, bend over. That they could do that in wherever they wanted to go. They just kind of pick your flavor. So, yeah. So I just thought it was really unique. And there's so many sightings that I actually got a little overwhelmed with how many sightings there were. So that's why I kind of reeled it back and said, oh my God, there's 3,200 in the area? That's nuts. Yeah. That's nuts. In a 15-year period, that's crazy. So back to your regular scheduled show.
Okay. So some of the theories that I was seeing...
I didn't want to get in the mines and what they connect to underneath the mountain, underneath Lake Tahoe, but...
I like it. You think that's dialed back. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that was bad.
So maybe he was having a mental breakdown, a bad trip.
Yeah.
It was a bear attack, which, okay. An elaborate prank.
Bears can climb trees really good.
I know.
You typically don't wear armor.
No.
And they could care less if you're throwing pine cones.
I tell you
at
what, if they did, that changes the game.
Right.
If you're out hunting
and an armored bear, screw that, man.
Right? Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a fabricated tale to spice up a dull night. It was also an attempt to impress a girl with a tale of heroism, which, boy.
Where was the heroism?
Yeah, I know.
Was it hanging from the tree?
Maybe.
Slinging arrows at robots.
Yeah. There are some that also claim that there are not really space aliens at all. out, but they're actually demons or psychic manifestations that want to terrify people because they feed on fear. And then I have
That's
one.
why they belch the fart,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep. One last thing I do have, and this is from the Iron Skeptic. Another thing is the way that the aliens are reported to have acted. Think about this for a moment. They could conquer the non-trivial challenge of interstellar travel,
But they couldn't climb
but
a
they
tree.
can't get a guy out of a tree. That's ridiculous. That's like Andre the Giant not being able to open a jar of pickles. One way or another, those pickles are coming out of there. Either these aliens were the absolute stupidest, most bumbling, least competent abductors ever to grace the good green earth, or they had a reason for leaving the terrified man up that tree. The aliens don't seem to really want anything other than to scare the hell out of some people. The UFO enthusiasts claim that sometimes aliens just like to screw around with people they abduct, apparently to gauge their reactions. For instance, sometimes they'll show abductees apocalyptic images of the world being destroyed, just to see how the human will react. Could this be some evil alien psychology experiment?
The theory that I liked the most, it was just, these are just two aliens getting wasted up in the ship, and they're like, hey, yo, check this out. There's this dude in this tree.
I like them being like the just dumbest aliens ever.
Right.
They land on Earth. They got all this technology to get to Earth. They get to Earth, and they're foiled by trees.
Yeah.
Right.
Go
If it
send
wasn't
the
for those
robots.
darn trees.
Go send the robots and make sure you take their hands off of their arms. And go send the robots. Go tell them to go
boy.
climb the tree after the guy.
So that's what I got, guys.
Yeah.
I think it's them just screwing around. That's what I do, because they're looking at us. They're like, these
Yeah.
guys aren't even evolved. He's shooting a stick. He's shooting a stick at these creatures. Let's go down there. Come on.
They could have been on like some type of alien spring break.
Yeah.
Alien Rumspringer.
That's right.
They're all drunk and whatever. They drink and just harassing this guy because they think it's funny.
That's what I think it is. Right
And
there.
that would be the belching.
That's the belching. That's right.
Belching out the Romulan ale. And then the fumes were just so potent.
Right.
Right.
He kept passing out. I was like, whoa.
He's like, wow, that was good.
Well, I tell you what, just like a bear wearing armor, we'll be right back.
Oh my God. Honey, look, it's Bigfoot.
No way. Let's go say hi. Hey, Mr. Bigfoot, what you reading?
You can call me Frank, and I'm reading the Paranormal Punchers comic book.
Paranormal Punchers?
Yeah, it's about a group of podcasters that get themselves in all kinds of paranormal trouble. It's like Scooby-Doo meets the X-Files, and it's hilarious.
Sounds great. Where can we get a copy?
Just head over to paranormalpunchers.com where you can find a comic book and all kinds of merchandise.
Thanks, Mr. Bigfoot. Have a nice day.
Thanks, you too. Oh, and look out for that bear.
And we're back. What I learned from this episode is that bears in armor. I'm going to be talking about that for a long time. I could see scenarios. I could see them having a whole, battle in the woods that we don't even understand. But when you see one with armor, you know.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also one other thing that I picked up from this, from my definitive research, was that the movie, there was a movie that was actually a fictional movie that actually is more of a documentary now that I've finished my research.
Here we go.
Okay.
Cowboys versus Aliens.
Oh, God.
Because in that movie, they were harvesting gold for fuel. They were onto something.
Not to be a movie critic, but that movie wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't that good. No. But they were harvesting gold for fuel.
Though it had a heck of a cast. You have James Bond, you have Indiana Jones, directed by the guy who, created some amazing Marvel things, Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Also based on a comic book, so it had the makings of amazing.
Just kind of went,
Just checking that was not the source of all of your research, was it?
no, but it did come to mind a couple times.
I wouldn't be shocked.
That's right. Harrison Ford wrote that it was in a remote and high mountain. The valleys were vacant.
All right. Thank you, Liz, for sharing that story with all of us. And again, I'd like to see that also done as the Costco aliens.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. The only way to get away from you got to climb on some of the top shelves in Costco.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're at Costco and you get a delivery from Cisco,
Oh.
right?
Well,
Because what is it-
Cisco's with a Y. This isn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. The Cisco
Yeah.
Costco aliens would show up.
Yeah, if any of the listeners are into technology, when I first saw the topic come up, I'm like, why are we talking about networking equipment? Cisco's a big networking company.
Oh.
I guarantee you're the only one.
Yeah.
Not
I have no idea. Yeah.
You're not the only one. I was there with you.
That's you're so full of crap.
We use Cisco phones at work.
Okay.
Yeah. Shut it.
You were just trying to think it was the food delivery company.
That's Cisco also.
But
that's
spelled it
different.
right. Yeah, so there's no way you saw Cisco and were like, oh, like the networking thing.
I know I saw the food company, but I know with the food, they also give you telephones.
Okay.
They deliver all kinds of stuff.
Oh, boy.
Muffins, phones, telecommunication, networking, pies, bread, cookies.
Okay. We're at 11. 11 food items mentioned so
Yeah.
far this episode.
Yeah.
Whoever guesses the right number at the end of this episode,
Get the free sticker.
it'll probably be Mike. He'll probably win.
Oh, there's got to be a pool. We should start a pool now. Listeners should do a pool.
No, because that's going to encourage you to continue to do that.
No, but I won't partake in the pool. I'll just do what I do, and people will be like, "We won the pool."
Pool?
The pool.
Okay.
The food pool.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What?
The Deadpool.
Anyway.
Right. What show are we doing?
That's right.
All right. Hey, we got some listener feedback that may or may not get us back on track. And let's kick it off with a shout out to new Patreons members, Carissa and Miguel. Thank you for joining us over on Patreon.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I hope you're enjoying it. We have a lot of original content going on over there. Let's try to do the list, everybody. Creepy Cryptids, Ghost and Gastropubs, 2 D&D campaigns, the Terra at Huska Castle, and Dimensional Planes, Trains, and the Cult of Cage. And
Did scripts on coming back to life? Things see scrolls. What?
Dead Scripts Rise from the Grave.
There you go. There's that one.
And anything, what else? That might be it.
Monster
I think
Hunter. We
that's-
do the Cryptid Hunter one.
Creepy Cryptids.
Yeah, creepy
Okay, did you say it
cryptids.
already?
Yeah, that was the first.
It's okay, you were
one.
thinking of hot dogs.
I was thinking about hot dogs.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if you want to join us over there, lots of fun. Yep. All right. We heard from Karen. Hey, guys, just found you recently. Actually, you are the first podcast I've listened to. You guys really helped me get through the workday. I just got fully caught up. Love the podcast. 5 stars.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. I'm glad you found us. We heard from Nicole. Just listen to the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel episode.
Bamf.
You guys mentioned a headless bagpiper being seen there. I got to thinking about bed knobs and broomsticks
Yep.
when I heard that. Has no one seen the end of that movie? Mm-hmm. There's the outfit and bagpipes playing, but there's no body.
Mm-hmm. Good movie. Very good movie. I enjoyed it.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I don't
seen
know
that
if
one.
I've seen
Never
that
seen it? Oh my gosh! If it's like you would watch it right after Mary Poppins. Yeah, the original Mary Poppins. It was kind of in that era right there.
Oh, okay.
80s.
Oh, maybe I did see that
Yeah.
when I was young. I'm pretty sure
I
I saw
didn't
that.
see it like yesterday.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, it's been so long that I don't even.
Yeah. It's been a long time. Probably about the time when you saw like the original Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe kind of a thing. You know, a long time ago.
I'm sure there's some listeners going, yeah, it's been this podcast is going on for a long time today. We heard from the old stuffed yellow bird on Instagram. When you guys mentioned a headless bagpiper being seen in your last episode, got me thinking of the last scene in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Mm-hmm. I was thinking of haunted movie sets and couldn't remember if you guys talked about any or not, or if it was another podcast I listened to, but talked about haunted movie sets.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And so we'll put that on the list.
Right?
Yeah.
And another message from him. I just watched an episode of a show called The Con, where they featured a private investigator named Bob Nygaard, who has investigated fake psychics and 3 cases he worked on. Have you ever thought of doing an episode of your podcast on this topic of fake psychics? Plus, I remember fake psychics being talked about on Unsolved Mysteries. No, never thought about that at all.
Right?
That would be interesting.
I mean, I remember was it the episode, was it Jeff, where you were talking about the paranormal investigators went out there. The one guy was kind of known for trying to debunk things like that, and he was well known for trying to debunk psychic mediums, too. And I think you mentioned like the cloth that they would put in, so it looked like they were vomiting ectoplasm, but it was just cheesecloth they swallowed.
Yep.
So it would be kind of interesting to maybe talk about psychic mediums from that era and the things they did to try to fool a customer and get some money.
Right.
Interesting. Thanks, old stuffed yellow bird.
Yeah.
Oh, we heard from Jonathan on Patreon. He's a Patreon member, and this was through Patreon. He messaged us. Dude, love the scene. That's in reference to the Quest for Karma. Because the last episode of Dead Scripts, we did the Quest for Karma, which was a script I wrote. We filmed one scene and then could never get the gang together to film any more of this. What I figured was going to be our clerks.
Right.
You know, the one that gets us to like an indie film festival.
Yep.
We're like the darlings of the festival for like one day, and then they forget about us and throw us away.
Right.
But we filmed one scene, and that's as far as it went. He also loves listening to our D&D campaigns and had a fun idea. What if some of the NPCs in the campaigns had Patreon members' names? Like in this case,
That's
you
a
know,
great
you
idea.
guys stop at Funk Brewing, and there's this guy named Jonathan there.
Cool.
But the only problem I see with that is I would go out of my way to make this NPC cool. You'd meet him. It would have like one of our Patreon's names. You guys would end up murdering the NPC. And I just feel like I would feel bad for a Patreon member.
Well, just think about it too. In not the at the Huska Castle, when we were walking around the upper the upper floor of Huska Castle, and the guards came and were like, "We need to beat the crap out of these guys, and steal their clothes."
Yeah.
And they're like, "But they're really cool Patreons, so maybe that would steer us in one way or the other."
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Well, he did say we should take the D&D campaigns and make B movies out of them.
Oh yeah.
We heard from Mike. Hope he's enjoying that sticker he got. But he says, "Hey, guys. I just wanted to tell you guys about stuff that's been happening to me and my family over the last several months. We had stuff go missing, like TV remotes, keys, eyeglasses, and other stuff. And then they're found in odd places around the house, sometimes missing for long periods, sometimes not. But it's mostly TV remotes. Like this one time, me and my wife were trying to watch TV and couldn't find the remote. And they found it a couple days later in a cereal box.
Wow.
What?
Another time a remote went missing. He couldn't find it. It's been missing for months. So one day his cell phone fell down in the couch cushion, and he reached down, and there was the TV remote. But this was a brand new couch they just got.
Oh.
Wow.
So the one question I'd have for that, non-paranormal, do they have a cat? Because I've heard cats are real jerks with remotes.
Really? No, you find me the cat that took the remote and stuffed it in the cereal box.
Hey, we're making $1 million. We're making some money.
Yeah. Let's see. He continues here. Now we're hearing footsteps. And one night, I woke up in the middle of the night to see a shadow standing over me.
What?
So I tried not to pay it any attention, hoping it would go away. So I guess you can say I pulled a Mark by just rolling over. Yes, you did, Mike.
Yes, you did.
Did it? Hopefully it worked for you. Also, my wife has seen a shadow several times now. And last night, I heard whistling 3 different times at the foot of my bed. I don't know what to do about this, but I'm scared shitless. Also, you guys rock. Keep it weird and put his skin for the win.
For the win.
Wow.
He continues here. Now we're hearing footsteps. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night to see a shadow standing over me. So I tried not to pay it any attention, hoping it would go away. So I guess you can say I pulled a Mark by just rolling over.
Maybe you should reach out to Rhonda.
Yeah,
or
all
something.
jokes aside, that sounds like could be
some-
pretty scary, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got something going on there.
You're right. And maybe, Rhonda, hopefully you're listening, maybe he has some advice
Yeah.
for Mike. Mike, for me, when I stopped seeing the shadows is when I told it to go F off. I don't know, maybe if you see the shadow, don't roll over, get up. But don't take my advice in case you get up and tell it to F off and then it cleans your clock. I'm not taking responsibility for that.
Right.
You could also do the Brussels sprouts and garlic maneuver.
Oh my gosh.
So roast some garlic, have it with some Brussels sprouts, eat a lot of it.
So you want his wife to leave the bedroom.
Well, I guess that would happen too. I guess everybody but you would leave the bedroom. But then you get to the bed to yourself and then you can stretch out. You get a good night's sleep.
Wow.
What, Mike? I don't think that's the advice you're looking for.
No.
But yeah, reach out to Rhonda. Maybe she can give you some advice. And hopefully it stops, dude.
Yeah, there could have been something that was open, it wasn't closed. There could be something attached to the house. Who knows? And just to have some kind of a guidance as to what to do, that'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus, when you can't find your remote,
That sucks.
so annoying.
Oh,
When the
that's so
TV's only 10
frustrating.
feet away, but you're still like, oh man. And a comment here from Andrew McKay _10. This is in reference to the Banff Springs Hotel. My cousin got married there a few years ago, and we wandered the halls for a while. We definitely felt a little strange at times, especially around the main staircase. But have to remember also, the wedding was an open bar. Wow, that's so cool. I was like, I never thought we would talk to somebody or get a message from somebody who was actually
Right.
at this
Yeah.
this hotel. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. And we have one more here. We got a story from Candace.
Nice.
And Alicia's going to read it.
So this is odd and slightly spooky. Thought I'd share. My mother-in-law passed away suddenly this week. It was unexpected, and we still don't know what happened. We figure it was likely due to some health problems she suffered from in her latest years, despite still being relatively young. I've always had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, and she was so very proud of my daughter, who just turned 8 months old this month. Well, about 2 months ago, my daughter learned how to wave at people. It's a normal thing for babies her age. It's really cute. I don't think she realizes that it means hello, but she seems to understand that this is a way to communicate. Well, like I said, her grandmother, my mother-in-law, passed away this week, and I have started to notice my daughter waving at nothing. She doesn't do this unless she sees someone, even at animals, but not at nothing. What's more is we went by the cemetery today as we prepare to bury my mother-in-law in 2 days. And as I walked around the graves with my daughter, she randomly waved all around herself as I carried her in my arms. I should mention that we were far away from anyone else at the cemetery. It was just me and her as I carried her around. She is only 8 months old and can't see super far, so she couldn't have seen my husband and his siblings on the far side of the cemetery. I also caught her smiling and laughing as we returned to the car and got back closer to the other people that was with us. This may have been because she could see her dad as he and his siblings got closer in view, but she wasn't acting like that before we saw them. It's odd to say the least. I don't intend to project this kind of thing on her and wasn't looking for anything like this to happen, but I can't ignore what I saw. You don't have to read this, though I don't mind if you do. Just thought I'd share.
Hey, Candace, thank you so much for sharing that with
Yeah.
us.
Yes,
And
thank you.
our condolences
Absolutely.
on your loss. Hey, it's possible that your daughter has like the insight.
Yeah. They're usually more open to it.
I was going to say the younger population usually can, but
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. Our condolences.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we can help out being all the way up here in PA, but if there's anything we can do, just reach out.
yeah.
All right. If you want to send us a message, tell us a story, hit us with a topic idea, anything, just go to paranormalpunchers.com. You'll find all the ways to contact us. We would love to hear from you. I think it would be cool. All right. That's it. I learned about the Costco aliens.
No.
I'm joking. I know. It's Cisco.
The Cisco aliens that deliver to Costco.
because the Cisco kid was a friend of mine.
Ah, nice.
I'm not going to sing. All right, this has been fun as always. I love hanging with you guys. I love listeners out there. Thank you for being part of the show by sending in feedback. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And go check out our website for all things pea punchers. Well, that just really it ended strong.
That was a strong ending. Yeah. I would have one takeaway from this.
Okay.
Or actually, a question, not a takeaway. So, if these aliens, okay, they were mouth farting, okay, I'm just wondering if they had too much like the Brussels sprouts and garlic or whatnot, and then they mouth farted, and they were in an enclosed area, not outside in the woods, would they knock each other out? I don't know. That's some pretty strong stuff.
If a robot farts in the woods, does anybody know?
Does anybody know?
Right.
I'm still like hung up on bears wearing armor.
See, we have our takeaways.
Yep.
I'm thinking about mouth farting. And you're talking about bears in armor. Alicia, Dave, what are your takeaways from this story?
It's definitely not that.
Yeah. Move further away from both of you.
We just need to combine those two into a combined attack in D&D.
I could 100% guarantee in the new D&D campaign, you're going to run into possibly robots that fart some type of gas that may knock you out.
Yep.
And bears in armor.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get weird. In fact, I don't know why I say remember if it's not weird. It's just always weird on this show.
Yeah.
If it's weird, it must be Paranormal Punchers. If it's not weird.
It's not worth checking out.